This is a public podcast announcement for listener awareness. The host experienced technical difficulties during the recording of this episode, but all of the wisdom, knowledge, and gems from the guests can be heard crystal clear. So with that, let's jump into the episode. What's up? I'm Brianna Ivy, and this is the Hear From a Student podcast.
What's up, Janelle?
Hi, so good to see you.
Oh, it's so good to see you. I was just telling somebody, I don't miss a lot of things from tech, but one of the things that I do miss is just walking through campus and seeing your face and just having a random conversation.
Yes,
So
for sure. It's like I always tell people, I don't miss a lot of things from tech also, but I definitely miss the people that I met, because I met a lot of great people at Georgia Tech. So that's one thing definitely don't regret. Yeah.
I got some regrets, but that is not one of them. So start off by introducing yourself to the people. Let us know your name, where you're from, what you studied in college, and where you graduated.
Okay. So my name again is Janelle. I'm from technically Cleveland, Ohio, but I lived in Atlanta since I was 7, and then went through all of my schooling in Atlanta. So yeah. And then I majored in CS and graduated December 2021.
I did not know you were from Ohio. I'm sure
yeah, this is it's technically, but most of everything happened in Atlanta, so it's I claim Atlanta for most people. But yeah,
as you should. So you were in Atlanta all your life, basically, except for those first 7 years. Did you always want to go to Georgia Tech, or was it I want to be a CS major, so maybe I'll go to Tech? Or how did that happen?
It was so all over the place. So my junior year of college, I think I wanted to be an interior designer because I knew I was creative and I knew that I was good at math and science and everything, but I wanted to have a career that I thought was more on the creative side that had let me have that creative outlet. But thinking about it logistically and financially, being an interior designer, it's a lot harder to have a nice income because it's about who you know significantly. And then towards the end of my junior year, I was thinking about opportunities in STEM because I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to do STEM. And I didn't know computer science was the thing, my junior year of high school and leading up to that. I just so happened, my guidance counselor sent me an email for this coding program, this coding summer program called Grows Who Code. And I submitted the application a day before the deadline closed and everything like that. I did not get in. I got waitlisted, and then I got off the wait list and got into the program. So it all just kind of happened, but that was my first introduction to computer science. And I felt it gave me that creativity aspect that I was looking for, while it's also a STEM field, because if you go into media and things like that, you can do a lot of creative things with computer science. And I think that's what drew me to it. But yeah, after that program, leading into my senior year of high school, I decided to declare a CS major. And Georgia Tech was on my mind, but since I had been in Atlanta for a minute, I was I wouldn't mind going to a school outside of Atlanta to have a different experience. So I actually applied to a lot of out-of-state schools. I think I only applied to maybe 5 in-state schools. And then it's UGA, but I knew I didn't really want to go to UGA. I just applied. Spelman. I think I applied to Georgia Southern too, but I also didn't really want to go there either. And then a bunch of North Carolina schools and stuff like that. So I was not trying to stay in Georgia or Georgia Tech. It just made sense financially. And then Georgia Tech does have one of the best computer science programs in the nation. So it made a lot of sense to make that decision to go there, especially since I would come out of college without any financial debt. So yeah, that was a big decision-making factor.
Yeah, congratulations to that. Was there once you got introduced to CS, is there a specific career that you were you know what, I think that would be fun? Or were you just I like CS in general, and then I'll figure it out?
Yeah, I was I like CS in general, and then I'll figure it out. I don't think I realized what the career path I wanted to go into was until like I was already at tech and then like applying for different internships. I kind of just assumed that I had to apply for software engineer jobs because it's like, well, if you have a CS degree, most people like will hire you as a software engineer. But I now know that like I could have applied to like be a project manager or things like that. But I actually like my software engineering job. And you can like do different things with it. And even if I wanted to like leave the company that I'm currently working at, I could probably go somewhere else and like have a very different experience depending on like what I'd be working on for them. So I think it definitely caters to like the company itself and like your role, whatever it would be like at that company. But yeah.
When you got into Georgia Tech and you were starting to figure it out, did you have like any favorite CS classes or topics that you learned about?
My favorite CS classes. It's so bad that when I think of CS class, I think of like the ones that I hated first. But my favorite, I think that my favorite classes were the ones that catered more so to like my threads. My threads were media and people. So the ones that I took more so on the media side were pretty cool. I took like intro to info visualizations. That class is really cool. It had its hard components, but like seeing the visuals of what we were able to create for like different like information that we were trying to turn into like a graphic, like that was pretty cool. And I brought myself a lot of stress taking that class because it was like my last semester at tech or next to last semester at tech. So I was doing everything at the last minute. I did well in the class, but I was like, they gave me a week to do this assignment. I waited until 2 days before it was due to start on it type thing. But I mean, we're here, we graduated. And then another one, I'm trying to think of the name of it. It was some class that we had to like create a Game Boy game or something like that. And that was pretty cool. I can't remember like the actual course name for that. But yeah, it was something we had to create like a Game Boy game. Like mine was like a SpongeBob game, and I had a lot of fun doing that. So I definitely like the classes that catered more towards like the media side that allowed you to be like a little bit more creative and not just like writing code for the sake of writing code. But yeah.
Yeah. What about your least favorite class? If you had to just pick a couple, I know there's a long list.
CS 2110. Oh my gosh, that class was absolutely terrible. It was just so stressful. And what made it worse is that I did not need to take that course for my thread combinations. I could have taken like the easier version to meet that requirement.
Yeah.
But I thought that I was going to possibly switch to a thread combination that did require it. So I was like, let me take it just in case. That class is a lot. I ended up getting a C that got curved to a B, but like I was like that, I struggled a lot in that class. That's the one that comes immediately to mind. I know like one that's like stereotypically one of like the hardest when you're like first starting in CS is I think 1331. It's like the one that's like data structures and algorithms. Like that's one class that a lot of people tend to find on the harder side. It wasn't easy, but it wasn't super difficult. Like if you like studied enough and like were able to kind of grasp like some of like the main things happening in the course, like you could get by. 2110 is the one that sticks out the most.
What did they teach you in 2110?
It was like essentially. It was assembly. It's like a very old programming language, or I don't even know if it's a programming language. I don't really remember what assembly is, but it's not fun to write in at all. Yeah, it's like teaching you like people that go into like intelligence as a thread, they like have to take that. So that's why I thought I was going to switch to intelligence. So that's why I took it. But yeah, I did not like that course at all.
Do you have a favorite coding language?
Most of the classes at tech were in Java, but I haven't written in Java in like any of the like my jobs, internships. I think most of it's been in TypeScript. Yeah, because I've been using like a lot of React JS and like both of my internships. So that like I do like right now I'm like writing code in TypeScript. But yeah. So I like TypeScript.
I always ask CS people too, do you consider MATLAB a coding language?
I will have to say no. MATLAB is like a very big calculator. Like I did like MATLAB one time in challenge and I was just like,
Okay, you don't have to
not
take
it for me.
1371, right?
Yeah. I didn't have to take 1371 because we had like one that's like similar to that for like CS. I think 1371 for us might be 1301 or something like
Okay.
that.
Oh, MATLAB.
Yeah, I'm glad that I didn't have to take that like a part of my actual curriculum. But I mean, during challenge, I didn't do terrible in MATLAB. I did worse in chemistry and actual math. But yeah.
Let's talk about chemistry for a hot second, because of all the classes that I took at Georgia Tech, chemistry was the one that I was like, maybe I won't make it. Maybe I will have to drop out. Maybe I will fail this class. That of all the engineering weed out classes I took, chemistry, I don't know, it just, the pieces didn't connect in my head. And I remember taking the final and it was like, probably like 90 questions. I thought I was really getting it. I was like, it's not making sense, but you know, it's okay. The timer beeped for 20 minutes left and I was on question 20. And I was like,
Oh, wow.
I'm finna fail this final. The panic in me, I immediately started praying. I was like, all right, Jesus, well, whatever you want to happen, gonna have to happen now because I done messed up.
Yeah. I always joke because like I was like, I almost failed chemistry for practice. Like I didn't have to take it for like CS because you can take like 2 courses of your choice in a sequence and then one of them has to be physics 1. So like you have a total of like 3 courses you need to take. So I did EAS, took the easy way out. I'm not ashamed of it. But in challenge, I was like failing every chemistry exam pretty much. And the only reason I passed is because of like grade replacement at the end. I ended up recovering at the end of the class, but like everything else, I was not doing so well. But the maths that I had to take at Georgia Tech, they were a struggle. Like that, I feel like that was one of the harder parts about being in CS because we have to take so much math. I feel like the math courses were oftentimes so, like harder than like a lot of the CS coursework we were having to do.
I was going to ask you what was the most challenging part of studying CS, but I guess you would say the math class. What was, sorry, I had a flashback to my worst math class. What was the worst math class that you took?
Intro to multivariable calculus. Yeah.
Who
I had
took it?
like,
Do you remember who you took it with?
I do not know, but we take the 2 credit one and not the 4 credit one as CS. But yeah, I don't remember who I took it with, but I was literally failing that class up until things went virtual. Then, yeah, when things went virtual, it was a little bit easier. But yeah, I was failing that class. And like I immediately the first exam I got a 30, or like even before I got the scores back, I knew I had gotten like something around the 30 because of like what I was able to answer and what I felt confident in. And I was like, I immediately emailed my advisor. It's like, I failed this class. What do I need to do to stay on track? She's like, well, technically you only need a D to like get the credit. And I was like, okay, I think I can get a D. But yeah, that class sucked. And then I think I took combinatorics was, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but
I don't even know what you said. Say it again.
It's combinatorics. I forgot like the course name, but it's like intro to combinatorics. That was an interesting class. It wasn't terrible, but it was, yeah. And then probability and statistics. I don't like probability and statistics. So yeah. And that's just a few. Like linear algebra wasn't fun either. And I took linear algebra the same semester I took CS 2110. So yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad you made it out on the other end, because why would you do that?
I got C's in both of those classes that happened to get curved to B's. And I was like, well, thank you, because I was struggling.
Listen, also C's get degrees.
They do.
Sometimes you have to remind yourself.
I got a couple of C's and I'm like, I've grown so much because in high school, like I was the type of person that cried if I didn't get an A, but Georgia Tech humbled me
Yeah,
because
so
I
quick.
was,
So
I was
quick.
like grateful for my C's when I yeah, it was a
I'll
lot.
be like, I passed. Oh, thank you, God. What do you think studying CS taught you about yourself?
I think studying CS taught me that I'm like pretty resilient when it comes to like not knowing a lot, but like picking up things as I go. Cause that's what I've had to do a lot, like in terms of like my internships and like my current job. Like I didn't come in having like the exact skill set or like things that they expected me to like do like at the beginning of the summer when they lay out like expectations, but I eventually get there. And I've been told that I can catch on to things pretty quickly, which helps. But yeah, I think that's what one thing, because CS is like a discipline where it's like you can do a lot of learning on the go, and like it's just like being comfortable with that. Because a lot of times you're like looking stuff up on like Stack Overflow, like why is this error occurring, and then trying to fix it. So it's just like it's a lot of trial and error, and I'm getting more comfortable with like, knowing that there are things and areas that I can improve in, but like I'm doing the best with like the knowledge that I have so far.
That's a good one. Georgia Tech taught me that I don't know a lot, but I can learn it. And it taught me how to learn fast. Like, because if you fail that test, it's another one coming in like 2 weeks. So guess what? You got to figure out why you failed that one and then learn all the content in between that test and the next test.
Exactly.
Time is of the essence. It's not your only class. So yes, very much agree with it. What internships have you had? And what was kind of like your role in them?
My first job at Georgia Tech, I was like a teacher's assistant for the Girls Who Code program that taught me how to code, because since they taught me how to code, I was like, I'll like accept a position with them, like teach other like young girls how to code and like kind of pay it forward. So I enjoyed that a lot. And then after my freshman year, I interned in South Carolina with a company called Blackbaud, and I was a software engineer there. And I worked on mobile development. I think that summer we were using like Xamarin to create like a app for like their payments platform. So that was cool. And like I had no experience with that at all prior to that. And I just like learned on the go. I ended up doing like some CI/CD pipeline stuff too that summer, and like learned a little bit about that with like I think Azure DevOps, I think, or something like that. But yeah, so that was pretty cool. And then the next 2 summers, I interned with the Shirian, where I'm like currently working full time now. Both internships were virtual, but they were on 2 different teams. One team was like I don't know how to describe it, but they like create solutions for like people at the company to use. Like they create different like applications for you to use at the company. But like the job that I have now and like my last internship was more of a customer facing service. Like so dealing with like what the customer is going to interact with on the web, like when they're like coming to assurance, like file a claim or like things like that. So I was lucky because I don't like this, like the interview process for CS jobs. It's very discouraging. There have been so many times that I was just like, it sucks to like get sent to HackerRank and like you have 2-3 hours maybe to like come up with like the answer to this like overly complicated thing. And I'm just like, this has nothing to do with like my ability to code. Like I promise you I know how to code. But yeah, a lot of like the jobs that I got, I think it was more so based on like my behavioral interview than it was like technical. Like I can answer the technical questions, but if you're gonna have me do like a HackerRank, any job that sent me a HackerRank, I did not get. So yeah, it was like in-person technical questions, yeah, but like if you sent me a HackerRank, yeah, it did not.
Like in person is better because you can hear how people think out the problem. Also, I hated that though. Don't ask me a question on the spot. I'm not prepared for that. Just ask me, have an element on the group, project and I had a problem with somebody and I had to talk it out. That's what I'm here to talk about.
Right.
Don't ask me to solve those circuits on the spot. I don't like that. Did I ask you about your favorite project?
My favorite project? No. I'm trying to think. It would probably be, what did I do for junior? Oh, for junior design, we actually did, we created like a mobile app for Clemens Kitchen, and it's like the food pantry that's on campus. So that was pretty cool. It was like 5 of us, and there were actually 2 different teams in that one class that were both developing apps. I don't even know if the app is getting used right now, but it was fun, like learning what Clemens Kitchen was and like what it served for like the campus and being able to create an app for them. So that was pretty cool. And that's like a Georgia Tech project. I don't know if like what work projects I could think of. Yeah, everything kind of gets jumbled in my brain. But yeah, that's like the one Georgia Tech one that I can think of that I enjoyed working on for sure.
Yeah, I feel you because sometimes I'll be trying to pinpoint a moment in time, but I'll be like, I don't know in what part of the 4 years of Georgia Tech that really happened. So I can't really put a timestamp on it. It's the trauma, probably. Did you, because we talked a little bit about our struggles throughout Tech, but did you have a moment where you were like, you know what? I am really good at this.
I think like I had a lot of moments like that after my internships where it's just like coming in, not having any experience with like the projects at hand at first and then being able to complete it. It felt like a big accomplishment for me. It's like, wow, I did not know what React.js was. I did not know anything about like how this operated, but I was able to like produce like this really cool project at the end of it. And I think that made me feel a lot more confident in my abilities, because like, yeah, you may not be coming in with like the knowledge, but like that's okay. Like we don't expect you to know everything. We just expect you to like put in the work and learn along the way and ask questions, like be comfortable asking questions. So I think that's like where I felt like the most accomplished, like, and that's when I felt like the most confidence, like, yeah, you came in, you might not have known a lot, but you were able to do what you needed to do and then more. So
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, I remember the first time I felt like, you know what? I'm okay here. I'm not drowning. And those are the best moments because in the beginning, when I first got to Tech, I had taken no like advanced math classes, didn't even really know what electrical engineering was. And those first couple of semesters, I was down bad, drowning. I was like, somebody save me. But then, like the end of sophomore year, beginning of junior year, I feel like I finally like got my stride, and I was like, hey, maybe I can. But before that, I was like lifeguard.
I feel that 100% because like right after challenge, I was literally like, why did I get accepted here? Like I was struggling so much in challenge because I had only taken pre-calculus in high school. Like so, and then like my test scores are low, so I had to take pre-calculus at Tech too. But like in calculus at like during challenge, I was crying because I like did not understand what was going on. It was just so overwhelming because I felt like everybody around me kind of knew what was going on, and I felt like I was the only one that was like confused. So that was a lot. But like after challenge and like doing that, I got like a lot more comfortable, and then like I took my like pre-cal first semester and then like started taking more of like the maths, and it got better. But that was one moment where I was like, why am I here? This doesn't feel like the place where I should be. So I definitely had those moments too.
Yeah, having the moment where it's like I'm the only person in the room that does not understand this is why later I started talking to other people in the class because other people didn't know either. They were just putting on the face like, they didn't want other people to know they didn't know, but my face clearly read shit. What the hell going on? But other people's faces was like, yep, okay, homework due tomorrow, we do it. I was like, panic, what are you talking about? So I had to start talking to people because I was like, y'all be lying.
It's really what it is.
Truly. Do you have any misconceptions about computer science that got cleared up as you started like going through the coursework and getting to understand what it really was?
Misconceptions. Oh, yes. So a lot of people assume that because you're in computer science, you know how to hack. That is not the case. Like you have to go into like a specific field and like track to like learn those skills. And like sometimes people hire you to hack their system so they can know their weak spots. But like I personally don't know anything about that. So like a lot of people just assume like, oh, you're in CS, you can hack into like somebody's thing for me. And it's like I did not learn any of that at Georgia Tech, and I don't know how to do that. So it's like one misconception that I think a lot of people associate with computer science. Like, oh, we're like hacking into something, but there's like a lot more to it. It's like very diverse in terms of like what the field is. You can go into artificial intelligence, you can do what I'm doing and like do like front end stuff, like websites and things like that. Like there's so many things you can do with CS other than hacking. But yeah.
Not gonna lie, before college, I was like, computer science, hacky people in the movies that sit with their hood on and they be like, that's
You'd be surprised how many people have asked me if I know how to hack into like an Instagram account. I'm like, no, and that's illegal. Like, I do not know how to do that. But yeah.
I'm not going to jail because you're trying to stop this man. I'm not doing that.
Crazy. But yeah.
What is along those same lines? What is something you wish someone would have told you about CS?
Something I wish somebody would have taught me about CS. I never really thought about that. Yeah, it's like I can think of things like in terms of just like, you know, working and like moving to a new city and things like that. But in terms of like the actual field of computer science, I don't know if there's something I wish somebody would have told me that I didn't already like know, like in terms of like the gender gap. Like I knew about that and like it definitely needs some work. I guess like that you don't have to know everything to like be successful. And I've talked about that a lot, but a lot of it is just like Googling and like figuring stuff out on the go. And then like reaching out to other people that have more experience than you, because I do that every day. Like if I'm stuck and like there's something going wrong, then like I'll just reach out to somebody else on my team. It's like I've gotten this far, but I'm stuck here. Like, do you know like why this is happening? And that's like what happened yesterday when I was telling you about like this error that was happening. Like I was working with like another dev on the team, like trying to figure it out because we were preventing some people from like doing their test because our thing was broken. So like my delivery manager is reaching out to me. It's like, oh, like when is this gonna get resolved? This, that, and the other. And like, yeah, it was a lot. But yeah, they're like people are more social than you would expect. I think that's one thing because I feel like a lot of people expect a lot of people in CS to be kind of introverted and like have poor people skills. But I think that is definitely evolving a lot because I am introverted, but I feel like I have like decent people skills. Like I can hold a conversation, like I can explain like what's going on to a certain degree. But yeah, I guess that's like another thing that
you mentioned the gender gap in CS. So what was your experience like studying computer science as a Black woman at Georgia Tech?
It was definitely like you'd walk into a class and you can like count how many Black women are in the room, Black people are in the room in general. But I feel like that in a sense it's sad, but it felt necessary because it's like that's what the workforce is going to look like, unfortunately. So it's like it helps to prepare me for that reality. But it's like I definitely want more Black women to know that like this is an opportunity. Because like for me, I didn't know CS was a thing. And like I feel like there are a lot of kids that still don't know that that's like an option for them, or like any just STEM professions in general. So I definitely want like them to like know the opportunity exists and then like be able to decide like what the future holds for them, and like instead of like not knowing and then like never finding out kind of thing.
I agree. I remember walking. You know, when you go to a PWI, it's not like a surprise in that way. Like, it's not a surprise because you know it, but then when you actually are in the space, especially because I came from like a majority Black space, so then when you go into the class and it's just like, okay, I get it now. And I remember whenever I would see, especially in electrical engineering, because I feel like it was me and me. I don't really want to say I was the only one because I feel like there might have been another one, but I know it was very few. But if I saw another one, instantly it was like, we're going to sit next to each other.
Yeah.
We're going to form a bond and we're going to be friends.
Yeah, that was for sure. Definitely like my first couple of CS classes, I was in them with the same people. Every time we sat together, we did work together. And then I studied abroad and it threw off my coursework and with like theirs because they had taken classes that I didn't take when I was abroad. So then I had to like find new people to like in my other classes and things like that. But yeah, I definitely had like those few people that I would always like look for, be like, okay, I see you, you're in my class. Like we're gonna link up to like study together, like things like that. But yeah.
You know, I feel like I have pretty good social skills, but being able to tap somebody on the shoulder and be like, hey, if you understand what he said, if so, what are you doing in about an hour? Because we need to study. So that became my thing. Like once I got comfortable and understanding like that I don't know and that's okay and I need to find out, then you know, being able to talk to different people, other people, and try to learn it was a thing. Also, I just want you to know that I interviewed Destiny and she gave a shout out to you. She was like, when Janelle missed class, I was panicked. So I want you to know that you played a very important role in this course.
Yeah, like that was literally the person I was thinking of, but I was like, I don't know if we're like naming names on here, but yeah, like Destiny was definitely like one of the people. And like we had a couple of math classes and like psych classes and stuff together, like when things went virtual. And I'd be like, Destiny, like what's going on? Like, cause I would like miss, like if I had missed something or something like that, I would like hit her up, like, I would text her during the class, like, I don't understand what's going on right now. I'm so confused. Like, but yeah, it definitely helps like have those relationships for sure.
Sometimes you really need that camaraderie that we can be confused together, but also we'll figure it out in a second.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's no shame in the moment. Those are the best ones. So
yeah, that's how I got through 2110 because like Destiny wasn't in 2110 with me because around that time, that's when my coursework got shifted because I studied abroad. So I met like new people in that class and like we always studied together, like did the homeworks and stuff together. And like that's really how I got through that class because like we worked together and like, you know, we were confused together and yeah, got through it together.
I feel like being confused with people have formed some of my best friendships aside from Boogie. We were hungry together, but the rest of them have been formed from, I don't know, me neither.
Exactly.
How it happened. So shout out to them. They say it take a village when they're talking about raising kids, but it take a village to get through school too. So
it really does. It really does.
All right, we're gonna pivot slightly to some questions where you can use your imagination. Oh, great. Okay. The first question is, if you could pick a skill from a different major, what would it be and why? And it doesn't have to be a STEM major. It can be anything.
Honestly, I would probably pick, like, I don't know what the skill set is, but just like maybe like color theory or something like that, because I still watch like a lot of interior design shows. I still find it such an interesting thing. And like, I would love to like have that as like a side thing or something like that. And like even help me decorate my current apartment because it's coming.
Decorating your apartment?
It's not fully there, but we're getting pieces as the months go by, like piece by piece, putting things together. But yeah, something like that. I like drawing and stuff in my spare time, but I feel like there are like a lot of skills that I could benefit from that I like come from like actually having an art degree. So like those skills I would like to have. Yeah.
I remember in Nesby, maybe, you had a notebook that you had decorated beautifully. And I was like, oh, it was so good. I was like, I want to do this. Couldn't do it. Gave up. Bought a journal, tried. I was like, this don't look like hers. I don't want to. I remember that. You got great skills.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes. What is a skill that you think all STEM majors should have?
communication, like the ability to communicate with other people. Because I feel like a lot of us can understand what's going on technically, but don't know how to explain that to somebody that's not so technical. And that can also be like a pretty important skill to have. So I think definitely having good communication skills and being able to like eventually navigate like the workplace, like talking to like different types of people and things like that. I think that'll be like a really important skill to have, especially in tech when like everybody is trying to be more inclusive. There are like different like tiers of being inclusive, and like part of that it's like how you're communicating with people from like different groups and things like that. So I think that's something that's pretty important.
Yeah, that's really important. And I'm gonna add on to that to not just verbal communication, but written communication also. Like it's all important, but in my job right now, I'm like reading documents and like testing documents and things like that. And it's like some of this stuff is really not clear. And then if you talk to somebody, when you talk to the people who like wrote the documents, there are things they know because they wrote it and they designed whatever the thing is. But it's like when you write it, you need to be thorough in writing it, because somebody like me who's new, trying not to destroy millions of dollars worth of this technology, I would like to know the things that you know. So I think
yeah, documentation is definitely important, because like I've come across that too. And it's like, I don't know, like you've given me some steps, but like I feel like there were steps before we got here, and I need to know the steps too. So yeah.
I remember being in like senior design and junior design, and people, the professors would talk about documentation. I used to be like, bro, just let me build a thing. It'll be fine. But now I'm like, oh my gosh, they were right.
Yeah, we have like a whole like initiative like on our teams, like have better documentation, like dedicate more time to doing that to like keep things working smoothly, running smoothly and stuff like that. But yeah,
it's very important to a real adult. What if you worked for a dictionary company and they came to you and they said, Janelle, we need you to write your definition of what you think a computer scientist is?
A computer scientist it's an individual that can take knowing like the basic skill set and use that to create an experience. I don't know, like, yeah, I feel like that's what I view it as. It's like you can have like these basic skills and you can use that to create an experience regardless of like what that experience is, whether it's like but yeah, that's what I think of it is as. Yeah.
So Janelle, the computer scientist, if you could replace any fictional character inside of their universe, who would it be? So you can take all, it doesn't have to be like STEM related, they don't have to be like a computer scientist, but you can take all of your computer scientist knowledge with you into this.
Into a universe of a fictional character, like an existing fictional character.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be animated, it can be any.
Gotcha. Yeah. I'm trying to think of shows that I can like take a fictional character from. Ooh, maybe. I know her name, like her real name is Marseille Martin. I don't know what her character is on Grownish, but if I took my CS and like merged it with her character, like we would be powerful. Yeah, I can compare it to her a lot. Like her character on Grownish. I forgot Diane.
Diane is top tier.
Yeah.
So. Wow, that's a good one. Wow. You get compared to her like
the character. My college, I mean not my college, my high school guidance counselor called me Diane because she was like, you're like super sassy and like you have a smart mouth. So she said I reminded her of her. But yeah.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. In 10 seconds or less, why do you think someone should study computer science?
I think that somebody should study computer science because there are so many different things you can do. And CS is becoming a skill set that a lot of people are like want to like have, or like it's becoming required in like a lot of different jobs. So you might as well get the skill set and like do something fun with it. But yeah.
I do so much. When I first, maybe like after my first internship, I was like, I don't want to code ever in my life. I hate it. It's dumb. Count me out. I code more now than I ever thought I would in my life. And it's really crazy. And I just think back to saying, like how I used to say, I really hate this. And now here I am.
Yeah, it like pops up in like I feel like a lot of people's jobs, and it's just like that's like the way where the world is heading. We're becoming like a very technical oriented place, which is kind of scary. But yeah.
So shout out to the people who went ahead and got the skill. And then there's me on my laptop every day at work, Stack Overflowing, trying to figure out why my code isn't working.
No, for real. That was literally me for part of today. I was like, I don't know what this error message means, but we're gonna figure it out. And then still didn't figure it out with Stack Overflow. I figured it out by like getting some help from my coworker, but figured it out nonetheless. Yeah.
Nonetheless, the starting spot for me normally is Stack Overflow because 9 times out of 10, somebody done overflowed the stack with this answer. So,
yeah.
Okay. So where do you work now, and what is your current role or position?
I work at Assurian in Nashville. My current role is a software engineer 1.
All right. And what does your day-to-day look like? And does it look like what you thought it would look like when you graduated?
Actually changed pretty abruptly. So I was working on a team this past summer, and that's the team that I started working with. And then maybe 2 months in, my manager reached out to me and was like, oh, there's like this new big project that is going to be like it's going to bring a lot of money and revenue to the company. So like, would you want to work on this, like these other 2 devs on the team? And at first I was like nervous, like these are like skilled developers. And I'm new to the company. I'm a software engineer 1, so like I don't have as many skill sets as the 2 of them. I don't want to hold them back. And that was like my main thing. But like I'm glad that I did that because it's been such a great learning experience. Like I've learned so much from it, and I've gotten more like hands-on like skills from working on this, and like getting to know like more about like our code base, like how things work and things like that, than I might have if I was just doing like what I was doing on like my original journey team. So things like moved around pretty quickly. But my day-to-day right now is me like doing platform enhancement, trying to find things that we can be doing better within like our repo. But before then, it was like feature development for like this new project, like developing different features for like this web application that we already owned, but we're like extending it to a different realm of the company because the first part of it was for mobility and now it's for retail. So that's been like a different experience, like getting to know like the retail side of the business and things like that. But yeah, it's been pretty cool.
First of all, I think it's so amazing that your manager reached out to you with that opportunity. And I think it also goes to show that you shouldn't be afraid of big opportunities, new opportunities, even if you don't have the skill set. My manager just be like, Bree, I think you should do this. But it's never really an option. It's like, I'm putting this on. Let me know if you need help. So, whatever way it goes, I think it's important to, not shy away from opportunities just because you don't know. We talked about a lot, not knowing, but it's okay to not know as long as you're trying to learn. So I'm glad that happened for you. That's so cool.
Yeah, I was talking about it with him in like one of my one-on-ones, and I was just like, yeah, it's like we've come so far. Like it's been several months now, like we're dev complete, like we've done everything that we need to do. So now we just have to make sure we don't break things, which is what happened yesterday. But yeah, so I've enjoyed it a lot. And I was just like, I appreciate him considering me because like I was very new, like I'd interned, but like it's very different to like work on like something completely new. But yeah, I'm glad that I decided to like not be afraid to like try this, because I gained a lot from it for sure.
Oh, that's so good. Do you feel like that it was a difficult transition to go from intern to full time?
I think not for me personally, just because when I went from my internship to my full-time position, I was working with like the same people that I like interned with. So like everybody was familiar for the most part. So it wasn't like I needed to like meet new people and understand like a new different type of project, because like when I started, everything was familiar. Like I had just worked on it like a couple months ago. So that made it easier. And even like pivoting to this new team, I'm still working with both of the people that I was working with, just in like two different respects. Because one person is still on like that original journey team, but he can help with like more the like generic things regarding like our repo and like our micro app. And then the other person's like been working with me on like this new project and like been sort of like mentoring me, and like I've been like shadowing him, like things like that, to like understand how to do certain things and things like that. So that's made like my team has been so supportive that it's made the transition very smooth. Like they're like always willing to like answer my questions, hop on calls, whether it be for like 30 minutes or like a couple of hours. Like they're like super supportive and always willing to help. So I think that's made everything a lot easier for sure.
A good team can really change your entire experience. So shout out to you having a good team, because that's really important. I think my team's I don't want to make it seem like they're not. I think they're pretty great. Last round of questions. This is what I like to call the lightning round pop questions. I'm gonna give you this or that statements, and you just respond with whatever you feel most strongly in your spirit. Okay. All right. Would you rather have a project assignment or a homework assignment?
Oh, what was the second one?
A homework assignment.
Project.
Final project or final exam?
Final project.
Group project or solo project?
Group project.
Study group or study solo?
Study group.
Meal plan or cook your own food?
Cook my own food.
Would you rather ask a professor for help or a TA?
TA.
Internships or co-ops?
Internship.
Fall semester or spring semester?
Spring semester.
Oh, okay. Roommates or no roommates?
No roommates.
Okay. Last question. Would you rather have 8 a.m. classes Monday through Thursday or 5 to 8 labs on Friday?
8 a.m.s. I took 8 a.m.s often at Georgia Tech, so.
You did. Wow. First of all, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Second of all, did you go to most of them? Like, were you present?
Yeah, I went to most of them. Like a couple of them were like recitations for like math classes, so I kind of needed to go because I wasn't really understanding
They
everything.
put the recitation for math class at the most ridiculous time. They were always also for me either 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. or sometimes 10. But that's just ugly, and God's not pleased.
I was like, I didn't really mind it because I'd rather get like everything done before 12 than to have to do stuff after 12. So I'm like, if I have an 8 a.m., like that'll be fine. I'll be done with classes by 12, be studying for like the rest of the day or whatever I need to do. But yeah, I was definitely one of those people like, I want to be done by 12, 1 o'clock, and then everything else. Because I had like a 7 o'clock lab and I hated it.
I had a 5 lab on Friday for a class that I didn't even like. So, but that's okay. We fought our way through and we made it.
We did.
Yes. I'm going to open the floor for you. Do you have any last parting advice to a student who might want to study either CS or a STEM field?
I would just say that I know maybe a couple of the things I might have said could have sounded scary depending on like what your interests are. But if you find like your own network of support, like you'll be able to get through it. Like don't let anything that I said discourage you. Like if you even need to reach out to me or like people, like I might know somebody that did something that you're interested in, like we can like connect you. Like there are so many people at Tech that can connect you to people that can help you and like be there to support you. So just don't feel like you have to do everything alone. Like there'll always be somebody there to like help you.
Very true. Don't be afraid to reach out, and don't be afraid to go for the things that you're interested in, even if they might be different.
Yeah.
But it'll feel so much better when you come out on the other end and be like, yeah, I'm a Georgia Tech graduate, or I'm an electrical engineer or a computer scientist or whatever it is. Going through the tough times makes it better on the other side. So.
It definitely does. Because then 9 times out of 10, when you finish, it might not be that hard. Like in actuality, when you're like applying your degree, like it might not be that hard.
And it's always better when you're interested in whatever the hard thing is. Because it's like, this is difficult, but also I want to know about it. So, create your own journey. It'll be great.
For sure.
Janelle, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I think that what you're doing is really important. So I appreciate that I came to mind for this, for sure.